All right. Welcome. It is a number one podcast show. I'm your host, Coach Jake. Hey, man, big day, man. Want to talk about taxes. It is tax day, right? So, tax day 2025, tax rebellion, man, 252 years ago in Boston, people dressed up as indigenous peoples boarded some ships, tossed some boxes over the into the bay, destroyed the product in rebellion to the T word. And yeah, it's tax, but it's another T word. Just gonna say it. Tariff. Yeah, man, it was a tariff, right? So exactly 252 years after American colonists rejected British taxation without representation, it's called the Boston Tea Party. What's up, all you Boston people? Um, uh, that was a 3% tax on tea, with now your average American paying 29% on income tax. So a 3% tax on tea. This is how you know that testosterone, another T word that nobody's talking about, is on a massive decline. These guys are so pissed on a 3% tax on tea, and you're cool paying out 30%, 29% of your money on your income, dude. I saw something like that the slaves under the Pharaoh, they were slaves, paid out 20% of their income. Just because you call a slave something different doesn't mean you're still not a slave. A tax slave. Are you a tax slave? Did you pay your taxes? I paid mine. Stupid not to, man. You're like messing with the mafia on that one. You gotta pay your tax. They're gonna get you. But there are ways to move around taxes, right? They say death of taxes. Well, guess what, man? I'm pretty sure Jeff Bezos didn't pay much tax. How though? What do they do? So, one of the tricks they do is they tie up their money in real estate and they take loans against or stock and they take loans against it, which is tax free. And then they just pay it back with the sale of the asset. I mean, there's all these crazy strategies. I am not a tax expert. I just know that you want to pay your taxes, right? So let's talk. 10 days ago, another T, Trump, enacted new tariffs, okay? They raised the effective tariff rate from 10% to 23%. So that means 60 countries now are facing higher import taxes as of the 9th, 6 days ago. So the combined tax and tariff impact creates the largest tax burden since 1968, raising nearly $400 billion. Mind you, cool, Trump, you raised tariffs. That's what you keep talking about. The ERS, the External Revenue Service, right? Where is the break on the slaves, on the Internal Revenue Service? You guys understand that all your tax money is going just to pay the interest on the national debt, $36 billion interest payment. So you wonder, like, people, all these lefty dummies, oh, yeah, just whatever, tax the rich. Well, first of all, the rich ain't paying. It's the middle class that's paying. And they can't even barely cover the interest payment. Your average person is paying 29% of their work. That's like a third of your year is going to pay these scumbags in DC to do nothing, to bomb people and all this other nonsense that you and I wouldn't do. There's this idea that if it's illegal for us to do, it should be illegal for our government to do. But that is not happening these days. So let's talk about all this, right? So this tariff is projected to raise prices again. Thank you. It's like inflation. Biden brought his price raises through inflation. All the wages haven't adjusted, but everything else is more expensive. And now the tariffs, it's not much, but it's still adding, it adds up. If I did 1% every day for 100 days, man, that's 100%. So that adds 1.3% to the price level in the short term. All 2025, that's the CPI, which is a measure of inflation. It's kind of a shitty one, but all 2025 tariffs combined are causing a 2.3 price increase, costing your average American $3,800. Okay? So Tax Freedom Day, this is kind of what I was alluding to. This is the day when all Americans have earned enough to pay their taxes and the rest of the money goes to them, is still a month away. And now it's 4 days later, May 16th. So we got to wait you've been working this whole time to pay Daddy Biden, to pay Daddy Trump, to pay Daddy Pelosi, Mommy Pelosi. I mean, dude, I don't know, man. I understand this is a slippery slope, and all the generations after the founding fathers have messed up by allowing it. The big doozy was 1913, right? You know what happened in 1913? Well, first of all, the 16th Amendment was ratified. By the way, if it was passed, it can be revoked. Remember, Prohibition had to pass as an amendment, and it was revoked. What is with everybody, dude? You could repeal the 16th Amendment, just like we repealed Prohibition. Okay, what else happened in 1913? Speaking of price increases, the Federal Reserve Bank, an unelected body that effectively took over, an unelected quasi-government body that took over the economy. Okay, so how is all this related to coaching? Whether it's fitness coaching, MMA coaching, business coaching, I do all of those. And I'm assuming maybe you're at least interested or affected by those if you're tuning into this broadcast. Okay? Part of the thing that happens when you become an entrepreneur versus a W-2 employee are write-offs, tax write-offs. I will tell you right now, Scientific Wrestling started the year after I graduated from grad school with a master's degree in financial engineering. Okay, I went to grad school. I think I was 2002. I had to be 29. 29. I got my master's degree in financial mathematics. Next year, I launched Scientific Wrestling in 2003. So yeah, the company is almost 23 years old, 22 years old. Okay, but I launched it because I was spending so much of my money on going to camps, signing up for tournaments, paying for rash guards, buying instructional videos. Back then, like, all the ones with the guy, Fred Shamrock and Randy Couture, all those instructionals way back in the day, Panther Productions, if you really want to go back. Spending all my money to learn grappling, traveling, going, coaching, all this stuff. And I was looking at the tax implications of this. I'm like, dude, all my money's going out of here. Guess what? Just by incorporating, which is what I did, I was able to write off all those expenses that were relevant to the business that I was starting. Boom, 30% discount on everything I bought, effectively, right? Because of the 30% tax rate. So I was buying it with untaxed dollars because they were going into my business. Well, at that point, I was like, shoot, man, I'm going to keep going. I started buying these old books that nobody had access to except me. I was making good enough money. I didn't have kids yet. So I was able to buy these books. And one day I just sat down I bought a printer scanner, and I scanned thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. That's, if you go to fightinglibrary.com, you can go, still to this day, it still sells very well. All of those books, 10,000 pages of material. that I hand scanned, on books that I bought that cost thousands and thousands of dollars that I wrote off. Then, with that inspiration, I was like, well, I might as well start producing. And I produced the book, scanned it, put it out, made all kinds of money, right? Now, remember, yesterday I was talking a little bit about coaching as well. And this is a growing field. I think now that we're seeing teaching die off, the model of teaching that, in particular, that Jimmy Carter pushed in 1979 with the Department of Education, had the worst results. We're ranked like the worst of any country. We spend the most. It's like ridiculous. It's such an abject failure. So finally, it got yanked. We can't thank Donald Trump for that. But we're having to replace it now with other means. Now, of course, there's, the internet, like you can learn anything on YouTube or whatever. But the problem is there's a couple things that happen there with the information age. You get information overload now. Now there's too much. I get distracted. Everybody gets distracted. And then not only that, you lose the accountability. So even if you don't get distracted, maybe you're lazy. Maybe you're not driven enough. Maybe you need somebody who cares enough to help you, even when, despite the distractions, to go win. This is why I believe the old school model, it's kind of being rebranded as coaching, but it's really the old apprenticeship model. And this is why the trades, right, that still somewhat function off of this apprenticeship model have thrived. It's a very effective way to transmit knowledge. So this is what I do now. I'm a coach, and I have people that apprentice under me that are my mentees in business. And these are businesses that are $0 all the way up. I have people doing 8 figures right now, 8-figure CEOs that I consult with. The whole gamut. Just like if it was tennis, I've got total noobs and I got champs, because I care about the noobs. There's no money in that. I do that because I care. For example, with the scientific wrestling, I do the same thing. I coach noobs and I coach high-level athletes, high-level people. In fact, I'm at the point where I coach the coaches now. I don't even bother with the athletes. But in addition, I help people, like if you go to quantumcatchwrestling.com, I'm going to coach you both on grappling, and I'm going to coach you in business, how to make a living doing it, show you what I did, okay? So this coaching market is blowing up. So for example, the thing that I do, like one of the things I do with coaching, executive coaching. Global executive coaching market is valued right now at $9.3 billion. Well, actually, that's 2022. Okay, and in 10 years, it's scheduled to go from 9.3 in 2022 to 27 million by 2032. Booming. Okay, what they're finding is that companies are getting a median return on investment of 7 times their initial coaching investment. That's totally congruent with me. Actually, I do better than that. I have a 12x multiple, not 7x. So the median's 7. Of course, I got to be number one. So anyway, some businesses are seeing up to a 50x multiple, and that's some of my outlier companies are doing that. 83% of companies recovered the entire investment. Executive coaching yielding a 788% ROI. Again, I think I'm at 11, almost 1,200. You can go, I did the stats and the case studies. You go to number one coaching, spelled like that, N-O-1. By the way, can you guys hear me? Is the mic close enough? I hope you guys can hear me. And you can throw up in the chat. If you have any questions, by the way, guys, please feel free. Blow me up in the chat. Now, with regards to taxes, these are some interesting numbers. Coaches help businesses identify overlooked deductions, saving people, not just like I'm a revenue coach, but you can also, because you've been through the ringer with this, you know what is deductible or not. Anyway, coaches help businesses identify overlooked deductions, saving clients on average $12,400. Some coaches don't even charge that. I charge about twice that for a year engagement, just so you know. But still, right there, 50%. You made back right there instantly. Strategic entity structuring, picking whether an LLC is C Corp, an S Corp. Do I do a multi-member LLC? Do I do a 506, what is it, 501(c)(3)? Like strategically structuring the taxes also can reduce the burden, as saying here, by 15 to 22%. Okay? So some of the lessons of the founders, like freaking just leaving Britain, leaving the UK, relocation is a way to do it. And you could do that still in the United States. There are states like Florida, I believe Texas. There are these states, Nevada, that do not collect a state income tax. Some of them, like Wyoming, have the strongest privacy laws. That's why so many people open LLCs in Wyoming that also provide legal tax remediation, like helping you with legal, fully, completely congruent with the law, legal tax avoidance, right? So, look, one of the things that you can also do, this is totally indirect, to lessen the tax burden. This is going to sound counterintuitive, but is to make more money, right? So if I make $100,000 and 30% of that goes to tax, well, if I make 120, do you understand? My bottom line went up, even though I might pay more tax, but I have more money of my own. So also just increasing your income. Okay, but most people don't even have a clue how to do that. Most people, because they are a product of the public schools, and this is what myself and other coaches, whether it's a business coach or I'm a business coach, I'm also a financial coach, also a fitness coach, also a grappling coach. Because why am I wearing so many coaching hats? Because I firmly believe it is the superior way to transmit information, just like an apprentice master kind of thing, but with all the language, pronouns, and everything else you got to dodge. Maybe it's better to call it coaching. Oh, John Locke, let me just add your comment. I think I like your comment. Make taxation theft again. Yeah, maybe we need to get hats made. Somebody's probably made a hat like that. I know. The thing is this: is taxation theft? This is just totally pedantic. I'm just splitting hairs here. Or is it slavery? I think it's slavery, and I think slavery is even more brutal and rude and ethically and morally bankrupt than theft. I mean, I don't know if you could compare things like this, but I would argue that taxation is slavery. I'm more along the Robert Nozick line of reasoning on that it is forced labor. It is taken from you in the form of labor, which is slavery. So what is your guys' take? Right? I'm going to take you off there, John Locke. Great name, by the way. Totally appropriate comment for John Locke. I just wrote a blog. If you guys, I think it's up on Medium. You can also go to numberonecoaching.com/blog. Check out all my blog. I got tons. I love to write. I do consider myself a writer. I wrote something under the pen name Thomas Paine, and I really had a lot of help with AI, so I called it written by AI Thomas Paine. But it's my writing, my ideas. And the AI just criticized where it didn't sound like Thomas Paine. But talked about this new common sense, this new tax rebellion. Everybody's sick of it. Part of why Trump got elected is he was talking about eliminating the IRS. Now, my problem is he was talking a lot of stuff, and I thought he was going to deliver, and the administration's still new, okay? But those first 90 days were pretty epic, and I've seen a slowdown in terms of things done. We still don't have the Epstein files. Excuse me. We see, all these things. And he talked about one of the things that got me excited was the elimination of the Internal Revenue Service in exchange for an external. Now, I'm not a fan of tariffs. I've had other shows about why I don't like tariffs. I don't disagree that it's a nice lever for negotiating, and I think he's done great things in terms of getting a better position for American-made goods and this idea of moving manufacturing. But it's still taxes are a disincentive. Taxes are and tariffs are not good by and large. Free trade is the best thing. The problem is we were being taken advantage of. We were engaging with free trade, and people were putting tariffs on our goods, and that's not really appropriate. I do like it as a strategy that it's reciprocal. So China, you're going to put tariffs on us. We're going to put tariffs on you. You're not going to put tariffs on us. We won't put tariffs on you. I love that reciprocal strategy, but I do think that they're in game theory. There's this idea of how to optimally win games, um, and especially it's called the tit for tat theory, and it's reciprocity really works well in game theory, especially with just a smidge of mercy every once in a while. That tends to move things into a positive sum environment, the tit for tat strategy, right? Like a win-win situation. So I do like that idea. Oh, John Locke's popping up again. What's up, brother? Where are you from, John? Mr. John Locke. I'm more of a Thomas Paine guy, but I like John Locke. John Locke, if you guys don't know, one of the biggest influences on the founding documents. I'd say really probably the initial one that got us going was the Magna Carta, but John Locke was very early on. I'd also say it's the Scottish Enlightenment of philosophers, guys like obviously Adam Smith was huge. The Wealth of Nations was published in the same year of 1776. But guys like David Hume, Thomas Reid, all of these Scottish Enlightenment philosophers were really instrumental in pushing, and these were the ideas that gave birth to the American Revolution. So again, I'm hoping, I don't even know if you guys give a crap about taxes. I think you should. I think you should. I mean, if you're complaining about government, whether you're on the left or the right, you could take away their charge card. I mean, seriously, if we repeal prohibition, we can repeal taxation on income. I don't why is that such a hard concept? I don't know. So I do think there's some interesting things to consider though. One is that, a guy like Thomas Paine, his ideas like common sense spread due to pamphleteering. They're like little booklets, like little books. Well, we don't have that, but we do have the internet. The problem with the internet is that you could be tracked, you could be censored, you could be deplatformed. I mean, even me talking about this 2 years from now, who knows? All the work that I've done and money I've poured into growing my following could just get deplatformed because I'm talking about this kind of stuff. John Locke's back. He said, had to step away. What are the platforms where you write? So I'm on Medium. You can go to Medium, just search Jake Shannon. I have a ton of stuff up there. It's a business, grappling, libertarian ideas, my own ideas. Like, that's one of the things. Like, I find that many people in the liberty movement, it's cool. I don't mind it, but they don't have original thought, right? They're just regurgitating Ayn Rand. They're regurgitating Murray Rothbard. They're regurgitating Milton Friedman. They're not trying to advance things down the field, right? That's what I'm trying to do. Like, I have some my own ideas about things. I believe that obviously, here's one: if we repeal prohibition, we can repeal the IRS, the 16th Amendment. It's totally doable. It just needs the oomph, right? Another one, that if we want to get rid of inflation, very simple. Inflation is always and everywhere an increase in the money supply, okay? So then to get rid of it, we need to decrease the money supply. How is the money supply decreased? Do you even know? Well, it's decreased by bankruptcies, by writing down debts, by repudiating debt. Imagine if we repudiated the national debt strategically. Yeah, we still paid, let's say, the foreign countries who've invested in us. Cool. But did you know that most of the national debt, do you know who it's actually owed to? It's not China. It's not the United Arab Emirates. Who do we owe most of the debt to? Two groups: the US government itself, which is stupid, and the Federal Reserve. Okay? So we could simply repudiate those two pieces of debt, reduce the debt, I think something like 70 or 80%. Can you imagine reducing it from 36 trillion to maybe a couple trillion? What would that do for the economy? It would piss off the bankers, the International Monetary Fund, all these bullshit artists that print money out of nothing. It's a scam. Repudiate it. Now, here's another original idea that I have. So, repudiate the debt leads to debt deflation, right? Increases the value of the dollars that you have. Okay, that's an idea. Another original idea that I have is get rid of voting and replace it with a lottery system. Does that make sense? Let's see, what's John saying now? Lots of NAFTA, TPP trade deals use our own tax dollars paid for these companies to leave the U.S. Yeah, dude, it's a disaster. Let's see, John Locke, originally from Philadelphia, long time SoCal. Oh yeah, I love Southern California, brother. It's a shame what's going on out there. I had to move in 2008, man. I was thinking about it today. I've been through that as a paying taxpayer. I was thinking about this today. I went through the 1995 savings and loan collapse bailout at the taxpayer's expense, through the dot-com boom bailouts, through the 2008 meltdown bailouts, 2019 inflation and bailouts, or 2020. It's ridiculous, guys. We've got to stop tolerating this bullshit, right? Oh, what's up? What's your name? Miter? Is the Federal Reserve even needed? It's never been needed, dude. How about that? It's never been needed. So, no, it's not needed, and it never was needed. It was sold. It was lies. Just like the money, it's lies. It's literally printed out of thin air. This isn't even controversial. I mean, it's just like, how stupid do you have to be? Pretty stupid. But this is the problem, right? You guys know what a bell-shaped curve is? Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. The reflection's fucking it up. This is a Galton board, by the way, where you can do distributions, right? I could show you what a normal distribution looks like through the beads. It's not really showing. These Galton boards are cool, though. Anyway, Google Galton board to show you how to normal distribution. But the problem is that your average person, which is the hump on a bell-shaped curve, your average person is dumb. Average is a C. Okay, that means more than half of the people are dumber than C, and the majority are dumber than A. And those are the people that vote. This is why I'm like, dude, you got to get rid of voting. Do it like how you choose seats for leadership in the same way you choose jury duty, randomly. It selects out the scumbags that are trying to do that, right? John Locke says, love it. Thanks for doing what you do. God bless. Appreciate you, dude. Let's see here. Miter. I think I'm saying it right. I hope I'm not messing it up. Taxes are a grift, like the old mob. Yeah, I said it at the beginning. Exactly, dude. Exactly. Medicaid. Yeah, MITRE, produce MITRE. Yep, I got you. Okay, and then John Locke's saying, I'm a big proponent for hemp. Puts energy independence, even food independence in the hands of the people. No more petrodollar. Oh, dude, 100% hemp. Hemp is a great thing, but then you get lumped in with the dummy stoners, right? Like, I'm going to be real. I'm not a teetotaler. I've smoked pot, blah, blah, blah. Every once in a while I'll smoke pot. I live in Colorado. It's legal. But, I've smoked it my whole life. As a child, I used it actually to get over some trauma when I had cancer and stuff. And it has positive things, but it does make you dumb, makes you lazy, and makes you forgetful. Those are not winning traits. So I highly recommend you don't do it and not even mess around with it. Like once a month, maybe. Same with booze, once a month, maybe. I don't like it. I don't like the way it makes me feel. As I've gotten older and older, I've come to realize this. It's stupid. It's a scam as well, right? Uh, Jean Locke, oh, you want to touch the third rail, bro. Ban IPAC. This is the lobby for the country in the Middle East that's constantly beefing with Palestine. And I don't disagree. But what I found, dude, when I had my radio show, I had a radio show in Utah for 3 years, a live two-way talk radio show called Mental Self-Defense Radio. You can go find old episodes. If you go to, I think, mentalselfdefense.com, I have them up, some of them up there that I put on YouTube. Talk to great, brilliant people, some of my heroes. That was the greatest thing about it. Like Thomas Zaz and some other really brilliant people. Anyway, I did a show that was critical, and I'm going to be real with you, dude. Started getting death threats, harassment from the Internal Revenue Service, because I was connected with the old original Tea Party, the second Tea Party, the one that was the tax protest that got deterred. I wrote a whole book about that, how it got infiltrated. Anyway, yeah, dude, that's a big problem. That's a huge problem. And you've got to separate it from the people because you don't want to be labeled as a bigot or anything. I absolutely do not have a problem with any group, but I do have a problem with government, and including our own, and including the one that raises money. IPAC raises money for 100%, brother. So, all right, listen, I do have to jump here pretty soon. I've got a client in about top of the hour. So, but I do need to prep for it. That's one thing that I take very serious is if you're one of my mentees or my clients, I'm going to blow you up. And again, go check the case studies. I prove it. You can either go for the number one coaching, spelled just like the sign, NO1, and then coaching.com. It's just littered with testimonials and case studies, legitimate case studies of my best performing clients, but also the testimonials over at scientificwrestling.com from some of the biggest names on the planet. Got a lot of people that are big names now. Their start, some for better, for some for worse. But I am here in service of you, and I believe in coaching. That is the best way to really get skills and knowledge transferred from one brain into the other. That's why I went after the very best coaches. Frank Shamrock, Dick Cardinal, Carl Gotch, Billy Robinson, Wade Chalice, and now I'm trying to study at the feet of Pat Miletich. All of that from martial arts, right? And then on the business side, obviously Grant Cardone, Brandon Dawson, all these guys that have done something that I want to do and want to help people with. John Locke says, everything you're saying is spot on. Even the liberals would agree, most of them. The problem is these gender culture wars are designed to distract, divide us. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all the bullshit. But the strategy, you don't even have to make it, I mean, culture wars, but let's call it what it is. It's identity politics. And again, a brilliant man, Harry Brown, I don't know if you heard of him. He was an author, ran for president under the Libertarian Party banner. Had this great book called How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World. I highly recommend it to everybody. And in that, he has this wonderful, he predated all this bullshit. Okay. He died maybe 25 years ago or something like that. But brilliant man. And in that book, he talks about this thing called identity traps. And it's bigger than politics. We get stuck in these identity traps. We get captured by our own identities, these things we create. Well, identity politics is really the problem. The problem is these check boxes that you fill out when you fill out forms. Because if you can, anybody that's spitting the vial at 23andMe or any of these Ancestry.com, anybody who's done a genetic test realizes race is dumb. I'm 2% Nigerian. I have 70% more Neanderthal. Where's my Neanderthal checkbox? Stupid. None of those things identify me. The things that identify me are the deliberate choices that I've made. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a business owner. I'm a wrestler. I'm a coach. That's how I identify myself, right? So I appreciate you, brother. Who do we got here? Got a new one. Alperin Gahin. Hello. Thank you for making catch wrestling more popular. Thanks. No, I appreciate you, dude. I can't do it without you guys. What I have done is I have married my knowledge of business with my knowledge of catch wrestling and my very, very high standards. Right? So when we talk about high standards, I just rattled off Carl Gotch, Billy Robinson, Dick Cardinal, Gene LaBelle, Frank Shamrock, Wade Chalice, Pat Miletich, the top. Dude, these are world champions, Guinness World Record, serious legends, Hall of Famers. Those are the quality, not some joker shit or some guy who's just good at bullshitting or has the look. I certainly don't have the look, but there's some like 6.5 foot tall musclehead idiots that have the look and people are too dumb and they go there. But I've got literally the best performing people on the planet, high standards. I got a master's degree in financial mathematics. Who do you know who has that? Do you know anybody besides me? Okay, high standards. Grant Cardone, guy's responsible for billions of dollars in transactions. He has sold over $1 billion of stuff. He's the only guy to raise through crowdfunding over $1 billion for his real estate investments. Okay. These are the guys that I am interested in. And then what I do is I like to take old things and then make them relevant and make them powerful. Right? So my interests, catch wrestling is old, but I'm like, dude, I see everybody trying to reinvent the wheel. Dude, catch is the best thing for what's hot right now. That's UFC. It's not even controversial. Everybody else sees it now, right? John Locke, all legends, right? Number one. These were the people who were number one. And that's what I'm trying to bring to you guys with the highest fidelity and a good and easy delivery system that is high-level coaching. Make sense? So whether it's scientific wrestling, name is very deliberate, scientific wrestling, or it's number one coaching, which is, again, relevant. What do you think? I'm going to be the number two coach for Cardone? No, I have to be the number one coach. My freaking company's called that. How am I going to do that? Outwork everybody. Whether it's through just pure sheer will and effort, or it's through being smart with efficiencies because of some of the stuff I learned in my other businesses, in programming, in AI, right? So now, listen, guys, I'm going to jump here very, very quickly, but you got me now. I'm telling you, dude, like my time is valuable. So, I have clients that pay me like $400 an hour. Just not bragging. I'm just telling you, I'm giving you my time right now. If you have a question, you have anything you want to bring up about what I'm talking about this weird tax awareness that everybody's aware of today, in particular being tax day. May 16th is tax freedom day, so you got another month to go to keep paying the man while they keep spending your money. Okay? And when you don't think that the national debt is tied to that, it's your tax that pays the interest, dude. You are literally a slave to their spending. Does that make any sense? John Locke, you can use the N-word now. I disagree. I disagree. I mean, they say things like you can use the R word, the N word, all that kind of stuff. I get you. I could probably do it legally. I don't even know if you can do it legally anymore. It's like, but the problem is you're going to get canceled, right? You're going to get canceled. And you don't want to offend people anyway. If it's offensive, why would you do that? If you could just pick a different word. Now, if you're expecting me, if you're going to make a word like he or she, an offensive term, That's where I draw the line. I'm like, dude, those are not offensive terms. There's no way that he or she. I'm not gonna call you by your pronouns. Okay, Bray Bram. I'm gonna call you by. I will try to be respectful though, but you need to understand if I mess up and I misgender you, it's not a crime, dude. That's a bullshit. They just passed that shit here in Colorado. This state's in trouble. Just like California needs to flip, Colorado needs to flip like yesterday. Stellar Steven. What's up, Stellar Steven? What was the name of that movie? Uh, the J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons. I always say J.K. Rowling. Yeah, anyway. Best network outside of Cardone and grappling. Hypothetical. I don't even know what you're asking, bro. Are you smoking the reefer? Are you in Colorado right now, dude? No, what does that mean? Best network for what? I'm here to help you. Like best network for what? I don't know what that actually means though. What does that mean? Best network. Um, here's what I will tell you. Networks are important. Okay. You need to Google something called Dunbar's number. Dunbar's number. It's this idea that your average person has 150 people in their own personal network. That's your cousins, family, people you went to school for. On average, 150. I'd say that's a little light in the modern social media information age. But yeah. So, but here's the thing that network, you just 70% of business, 70% of revenue that comes into a small business under 3 million, 70% of that revenue is from referrals. Meaning somebody in your network, that 150, referred somebody they know. They each one of those, on average, knows 150. So 150 times 150, 22,500 just in your personal network. The problem is you don't communicate with them. That's your fault. You're not getting out and getting known for what it is that you're trying to accomplish to those 22,500. I guarantee you there's at least one person in that group that can help you. Oh, Whiplash. Yeah, dude, that movie. I love that movie. I watched it with my daughter, and she agrees with you. I don't know if I told you that. She was like, "Oh yeah, that's totally you." I don't know if that's good. I'm tickled by that, dude. It's totally tickled. Okay, so Alperin Sahin, following you from Turkey, catch wrestling is not well known. By the way, when I go and I look at my Instagram stats, I have to look at YouTube. I'm still trying to figure out YouTube. We're doing good. We're on a big uptick on YouTube, and I appreciate you. Thank you from Turkey. I love that. I love learning about the world. What's the deal with you guys in like Greece? Isn't there some sort of beef between you and Greece historically? I don't even know. But anyway, the number one city that tunes in to scientific wrestling on Instagram, by the way, Tehran in Iran, Persia, which is like super wrestling culture. That made me actually pretty damn happy. But anyway, Alperin, following you from Turkey, catch wrestling is not well known around here. Actually, I have started with jiu-jitsu, which is better than nothing, and most people do. And jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu kind of has a good, strong connection to catch. It wouldn't exist without catch. But after I learned about catch as catch can, I like it more. Yeah. So I had the same problem. My path was the same as yours, Albert. So I would go to these jiu-jitsu clubs, and I started out in Pee Wee wrestling when I was like 5 in 1977. So I was like 4. Oh man, that puts some fucking time on it too, right? Like fuck, that's like 45 years or whatever. Over that. Anyway, 46, 47, Jesus Christ. That's a long time on the mat studying stuff. But I liked wrestling, but I never thought of it as a martial art. And I kind of started dabbling in other martial arts like Taekwondo, Karate Kid, all that shit was 1984 when I was like 12 or 11. Anyway, UFC comes out. I'm a young man. Comes out in 1993, 94. I'm 20 years old. I'm there. I see it live. Changes my whole life. Go to study it. I have to move out of Colorado because, first of all, Colorado was the only place it was legal. That's why they held the first 2 there. I was able to attend UFC 2 in person. I graduated the next year, moved right to California. It was the only place that I studied with Carly Gracie in San Francisco. Brutal. But I was a wrestler, and I also understood being on top. And even in the early days, I never liked the positional stuff of being underneath, and I didn't like the guard. I felt my groin was vulnerable. I felt there was disadvantages for law enforcement putting their weapons so close in terms of weapon retention. These issues bothered me, but I was like, cool, this stuff's super effective. Anyway, I didn't know what to do. So I had to go seek these people out, and I would fly them in and I would fly to them. And that's really how catch wrestling started for scientific wrestling and how we started getting it out of the world. Now, where I was smart is I was early on filming everything. I have tapes going back to 2003 before the social media, when the internet was a baby. And a lot of that is because my roommates were really big in skateboarding. One of my roommates from back in the day in college, University of Colorado, he now runs Thrasher magazine. And I learned about these skateboarding videos and how they were filming everything. And I was into film, but I never thought about filming sports until the skateboarding videos. And then this sport came along and I was like, shit, nobody's doing this. And then I was like, well, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I want to do what I think is important. And so I just started documenting. And then when I started documenting, I realized there was gaps. We need certifications, we need trainings, we need competitions. And I started just, the entrepreneur side of me just started pouring gasoline onto this thing. And that's how scientific wrestling got so big, right? So you have to start, like it's getting well known here. I don't have a big bankroll to promote it. I just have my effort and persistence of a wrestler. And so but you can do the same thing for Catch Can and Turkey. Consider becoming an affiliate. You can use all the stuff that I've already built over 25 years or whatever and just start new. I've spent hundreds of thousands and maybe even millions of dollars on scientific wrestling in 25 years. Okay? You can get in for like 1% of what I spent and start where I'm at now in Turkey. Just go to quantumcatchwrestling.com. And I appreciate you, dude. Turkey, that's so cool, man. Love it. I don't even know what time is it over there. You got to be like, what, 6? I'm guessing it's probably like 8 or 9 o'clock over there at night. Anyway, John Locke, would you say a combination of folk freestyle with BJJ is very similar to catch wrestling? Yes, I would. There's a lot of stuff I'd add on to that, but I'll give you a yes so far. I mainly want to do throws, and I'm debating on going to an MMA gym or a Kodokan judo school nearby. Dude, all good things. I don't know why you got to pick one, but okay, if for whatever reason, maybe there's only so much John Locke to go around, I get it. So, first of all, yes, folk style is the closest thing to catch wrestling because it is literally amateur catch as catch can. Okay, let's get that clear. So when people come at me and they're like, oh, well, how could catch wrestling isn't doing anything in Abu Dhabi? I'm like, because you're a fucking moron. How many guys at Abu Dhabi are using techniques from folk style wrestling or freestyle wrestling? Now shut the fuck up. Get fucking educated. Don't come at me with these retarded, sorry, I just said the R word, stupid fucking questions, okay? But think. It's the goddamn internet's out there. You can do a remedial search. So folk style, lean into folk style. Folk style is the winningest foundation for MMA. Okay, MMA is the driver of everything. Just being real. If it wasn't for UFC, nobody would be doing this stuff. Just fringe. Okay, and the level of competition would be way low. UFC is driving everything. So, and folk style is the winningest style. Now, what is missing from folk style? Why do they call folk style? Why was it called amateur catch as catch can? Because they took the dangerous submissions out. Now, not all at once. You could do like double wrist locks and all kinds of stuff early on. Now, you couldn't win with them, but you'd use them as pinning strategies, right? Now, my goal has been to bake in, because the problem is these people are trying to reinvent the wheel using triangles. So they're like, okay, I got this old jalopy folk style. It's it's a muscle car. This thing's sick. But I'm going to put these triangular jiu-jitsu wheels on it. And why doesn't it go very fast? Because jiu-jitsu, I talk about this all the time, man. You go get all my BJJ fanatics. I give you everything, dude. In fact, BJJ fanatics, they were mad at me. They're like, dude, this needs to be like 50 DVDs. I'm like, no, I'm going to put everything in one and they can hit the rewind button. I'm gonna give them value. Okay. When you're doing jiu-jitsu or any grappling, your setup to a finish is called a control position. The guard is jiu-jitsu's premier control position. Fantastic. They've explored it. Half guard, all this weird jiu-jitsu 10th planet shit that doesn't work for half the people. Anyway, they've got a million variations on the guard. Great. Good job. Good job. You've mapped out that control position. What about cradles? What about Nelsons? What about all these other control positions that are wonderful to set up either a pin or a submission? This is what was lost in catch, and I've been trying to put back in. My thing is if you supplement folk style with jiu-jitsu, you're only going to learn to set up your submissions from the guard. I mean, not only, but you get my point. It's like they don't even understand anything. Like, go watch my Nelson's DVD. It'll blow your mind. Okay? I don't even know. But judo, on the other hand, I love judo. I did judo for a short time, for about a year. Loved it. I find judo is the closest to catch wrestling that there is, because it starts on the feet, has a takedown, right? Component that's highly sought after, pinning and submission. Difference is the key. Yeah, and they just add in and you can attack the legs again. So it kind of, the rule sets give you a little bit of flavor, but yeah, whatever. Let's see here. Alfred, almost midnight. Oh shit, yeah, late, brother. Appreciate you staying up with me. What do we got? Stellar Steven, thoughts on Gable Steveson versus Craig Jones for CGI or CJI? Sorry, I always fuck that up. One, Craig Jones, can't blame that guy, man. I'm on the same hustle. I don't have the same. I don't run in the same circles, unfortunately. So that $1 million, that's what matters. That's what I'm doing, bootstrapping this scientific wrestling thing. We did $3,000 in prize money, far cry from $1 million. We still got some great talent, really fantastic talent. You got to put money down. If you know somebody who is as passionate as we are, as I am, I've got a great Rolodex. I'm looking for partners to blow this up. I personally believe that catch wrestling it will be bigger than MMA and WWE, and it sits right in between two of them. Just saying. That's why what I'm doing is Shoot Pro Wrestling. Go to shootprowrestling.com. Check it out. Blow your mind. We got the matches up. You can watch it. It's fantastic. Now, with regards to Craig Jones versus Gable Steveson, Craig Jones is super smart, because he'll now be able to say, I have a win over an Olympic wrestler who never really won, probably spent a lot of time with the level of submission that you do. So very smart on his part, but still sandbagging, in my opinion. I mean, if he wrestled Gable Steveson under folk style rules and maybe only sleeper holds were allowed, dude, that I think might be an equal matchup. Very shrewd strategically for him and branding wise, unless you're smart to the business, then you realize, yeah, it's kind of weak. But it's cool. He'll just make jokes about it and tease and move on, whatever, like he does stealing all the stuff from catch wrestling. And it is what it is, man. It's just people get a pass. It is what it is. It's cool. I'm glad it's out there. I'm open. I stole his idea, the over 80, under 80. I love that. I think that's a great idea. I love the idea of the weird karate floors that he has. I prefer the aesthetic and the branding of a ring. I think you'd be stupid to throw away something that's just seared in the subconscious, like a wrestling ring and the ropes. But yeah, anyway, so the over under 80, I kind of like about that. Like he at least is sort of honest about the theft from catch wrestling. I mean, I've got him on tape and stuff where he kind of tongue in cheek says it, but so it is what it is. Let's see. What's your name? I'm a failure, dude. That's sad, brother. Yeah, a half Nelson. I don't know what that's a reference to. John Locke. MMA legend Dan Hezerson has an MMA gym down the road. Oh, or what are you, like in Temecula or something? I almost worked out, but it was like an hour away down there, way back in the day. Dude, you should go in there, man. Like, get in there. That's how I got in with like Billy Robinson. You just go in, dude, and you're gonna suck for a while. Who cares? That's how you earn respect, bro. You gotta just show up. First rule of success. Let's see here. I'm a failure. Do you think Catch's problem with money or promotion or both? you can have different answers. I'm not exactly sure if I'm getting what you're saying. Do you think Catch's problem? Do you think Catch's problem is money or promotion or both? Yeah, and I take responsibility for that. I'm trying my hardest, guys. I don't see anybody doing even coming remotely close to me, like to what I'm doing, what I have done, and what I plan to do. I don't see anybody doing that. I would love to get help. The thing about money is I'm not a communist. I'm straight like 100% libertarian, free markets. I love entrepreneurship. I love small business. Not a big fan of corporate government mergers, that fascist shit. But I love small business. I think it's actually the only ethical system that's completely consensual is business, small business. Anyway, it is a problem that I'm trying to solve. I'm trying to figure out how to bootstrap it without throwing in, I got kids that I got to put to college. I got generational wealth things. I want to, so I'm not throwing all my money at catch wrestling. I'm trying to figure out how to bootstrap it up. And I've done a pretty good job so far, but it would be fantastic if I had some capital partners that also had a strong belief in it as well. Because all money is an amplifier, right? And I do need to jet here pretty quick because I got to get on with this client. Money is an amplifier. For example, you can see it with anybody. If you win the lottery, if you have moral or character defects, it's going to amplify it. Okay. If I have a mission, it's going to amplify my effectiveness. It's going to collapse time. It's going to happen quicker, more powerfully. So that's really for me. Money is a means to an end. It's not the end itself. I want, for my own personal life, it's freedom, legacy, generational stuff, taking care of my kids and my kids' kids. But with regards to catch, yeah, I can attract better talent. I remember there was a time before Gordon Ryan blew up, and I just didn't have it back then. But he wanted like $7,000. I could have made a match between him and I don't know, Ben Askren or something. Who knows? But I just didn't have the money back then. So money helps, man. It helps. And it helps to give the money to somebody who knows what the hell they're doing with it to make it happen. So anyway, guys, listen, I do have to jump. I appreciate the hell out of you. Let's see here. John Locke. Yep, in Temecula. Lived in LA, but vaccine mandates pushed us out of the city. Oh, dude, I had to leave LA. I had to leave. Last place I left in California was Dana Point. I love Southern California. But I can't live there, dude. You can't run a business. The housing is out of control. The homeless is out of control. Like the socialism is out of control, bro. I had to move. They pushed me all the way out to Utah. And then the Mormons pushed me out of there because I couldn't handle all that craziness. And now I'm in Colorado, back taking care of my folks and just recharging. I don't know what I'm going to do after this phase of my life, but anyway, I just appreciate all you guys. I wish I had more time for you. I know everybody got warmed up as the ball went rolling. I just want you to know I'm here for you, and if I can help you, let me know. If you can help me, let me know. You know what I'm after. I'm trying to blow this up. I really do believe Shoot Pro Wrestling is the vehicle to do so. Looking for sponsors, looking for just help, man. If you know somebody, that Dunbar's number, you're part of my Dunbar's number. Connect them. Send them my way. Share this video. Share them the Scientific Wrestling page. Share them the #1 coaching page. Maybe I can help somebody that make their dream happen through coaching. All right, guys. Appreciate the heck out of you. Hope you have a stellar day. And I'll talk to you soon.